Polished rewrite, journalistic literary style. Carl Webster, Jonathan Howard, has been playing Abby Webster for months on Coronation Street, and now, at last, the reckoning has arrived. From the moment Carl appeared on the cobbles, trouble clung to him like a second skin. He didn't just prove the audience right, he exceeded expectations with a grim enthusiasm. Sleeping with his brother Kevin's wife while Kevin was undergoing cancer treatment might have been enough to mark him as irredeemable. But Carl didn't stop there. Even after Abby uprooted her entire life to be with him, his infidelities continued unabated. Along the way, he dragged local teens Dylan Wilson, Liam McShane, and Brody Michaelis into a murky web of car theft schemes, leaving Tyrone Dobbs seriously injured after being struck by a stolen vehicle. And then there was Debbie Webster, her dementia diagnosis quietly exploited, her business accounts accessed under the guise of concern. All in all, Carl Webster was not a man who tolerated peace. He thrived on disruption. Calm bored him. Chaos fed him. Abby had known he was trouble long before they became a couple. She watched him with a wary fascination, the man who slept with his brother's wife while Kevin fought for his life, the man who seemed to draw energy from other people's collapse. Whispers followed him. Cars, kids, pressure, favors taken without permission. Dylan and Brody were easy marks, young, restless, desperate for excitement, and Carl was the kind of adult who reframed recklessness as opportunity. Tyrone's injuries were the physical cost of that worldview. Abby had held Tyrone's bruised face in her hands and felt the weight of shame settle where anger should have been. And then there was Debbie. Manipulating a dementia diagnosis wasn't careless or impulsive, it was predatory. Abby knew that story well. She had watched Carl smile over cups of tea while Debbie, sometimes unsure where she was, trusted him completely. The thought of him siphoning money from a vulnerable woman lodged in Abby like glass, but love, or the idea of it, is a powerful anesthetic. Abby convinced herself she could manage the truth, soften its edges, bend it toward redemption. She didn't expect betrayal to be so banal. A necklace. Found between sofa cushions. A small, heart-shaped pendant, cheap, unremarkable, devastating. She discovered it on an ordinary afternoon, sunlight slicing through the blinds, dust motes drifting like tiny confessions. Alfie slept beside her while she absent-mindedly flipped through catalogs, thinking about baby gifts and pretending not to cry. Her fingers slipped between the cushions and came back holding the chain. "Carl," she called, turning it over in her palm. From the kitchen, without looking, he offered an answer already polished: second-hand sofa, previous owners. He had explanations for everything. Abby nodded, but instinct, the stubborn survivor of 2 marriages and too many bad choices, refused to let it go. Later, at the pub, she told herself she would drop it. James had turned Carl down at the bar. If that were all, it would have been embarrassing, survivable. James was generally decent. He smiled, shrugged, and left. But Abby watched him go and felt that peculiar chill, the look of someone who knows something, even when they're innocent. Tracy Barlow's words lodged themselves deep. The bigger the story, the bigger the lie. Abby laughed politely. She hated gossip, but the suspicion took root. Days passed, quiet at first, then the sounds, a phone clicking shut, a laugh that wasn't meant for her. Abby listened not because she wanted to spy, but because she needed to know whether she had built her own humiliation brick by brick. The day it broke, Carl lay asleep on the sofa, his head in her lap, trust made obscene. She nudged his phone. It lit up. Thumbprint. Access granted. She hadn't planned to read it. She had planned to throw it, run, buy trainers she didn't need. But boredom is a curdled form of courage. The messages were blunt, lazy, unmistakable. You better be at the fence tonight. Missed you. Bring the thing. Don't get caught. Heart. Photos followed, mundane, intimate, damning. And the heart. That tiny symbol, meant to make a bad thing feel harmless. The world flattened. Abby read until the words blurred and sharpened again. Mentions of Ronnie's stag do as cover. A rejected business proposition. Theft dressed as enterprise. She didn't wake him. She watched him sleep, smiling, catastrophically innocent, when she confronted Carl, the machinery of charm-word interaction. Laughter. Denial. It's not what you think. Context. Misunderstanding. Blame shifted. James, Abby's imagination, her supposed tendency to overreact, but this was different. This was evidence. The necklace. The texts. Michael's casual confirmation that he and James owned identical pendants. Kevin's reaction cut deepest. Shock hollowed him out, then grief rushed in. He read the messages in silence, the same silence Abby had endured, and then he left. Some pain requires solitude. Abby moved fast after that. No neat plan. Just urgency. She summoned Michael. She summoned James. She was done protecting a lie. The confrontation unfolded at the Rovers. Truth, laid out without theatrics. James confessed, weary, ashamed, honest. Carl floundered. Once skilled at sincerity, he now had nowhere to hide. The dominoes fell. Whispers became certainty. Debbie's accounts were reviewed. Police were contacted. Tyrone's injury revisited. Outside, Carl begged. Apologies thick with fear. Tell me what to do. Abby looked at him like counterfeit currency. You lied, she said calmly. I believed you. That part was mine. But I won't cover for you anymore. She walked away. Carl's world didn't collapse all at once. It sagged. Cards removed one by the people he had used to build it. Legal meetings followed. Police interviews. Reputation stripped by quiet, bureaucratic force. For Abby, the arc bent elsewhere. She returned to herself. Therapy, work, friends who asked nothing but honesty. She watched Alfie run in the park, unburdened by lies. She wrote a list of things she would never tolerate again: manipulation dressed as love, silence in the face of wrongdoing, anyone who used vulnerability as a mattress. A year later, on Christmas Eve, she sat by a tree she'd decorated herself. The necklace lay forgotten in a drawer, proof that had lost its shine. Some things are not meant to be kept.